Hey folks, and welcome back to The Mortgage Farmer. It's been a week or two since we've spoke. Here we are. It is July the 17th. This is Wednesday. Just wanted to come back to you for a minute and talk about something that has recently come to light and how it might impact the mortgage industry, but how it impacts me and you and all of those people that are out there that are wanting to become a homeowner or are living in rental units now. You may have heard about this a little over a week ago while meeting at a NATO summit. Not sure why this was a popular topic for NATO, but during a NATO summit, President Biden, let's pause the video right here, and I want to mention one thing very quickly. I don't mean for this to be a political video. Whether you are a particular candidate backer, whoever that happens to be, that is your choice and up to you. I don't push my political views on others, and I would never ask you to do the same. I will not push my views on you, and I appreciate if you don't try to push your views on me. This video is informative, and while it does have a little political undercurrent because President Biden is the one that said it, and it was done kind of in a political rhetoric kind of way, I want us to focus on the meat of it, the actual act that we're discussing and how that might impact the economy. Let's go back to the video now, but please understand, whatever your political views are, I respect them, and I would hope that you would respect mine as well. We won't talk about them here. This channel is not the platform for us to have political discussions or debates. Thanks. Let's go back to the video. Biden basically proposed his plan where he said if elected he's going to do this, but he proposed a plan nationwide of putting a 5% cap on annual rent increases for tenants. Now, all of us understand that the cost of housing has gone up. I sympathize with, I wish that I could help solve the problems that are in the rental housing community, and the cost of rents are skyrocketing. I do have a solution. We're going to talk about that at the end. But the idea that you can, at a macro level nationally, put a cap on what someone can earn, well, it's almost silly. But the plan that he is proposing would cap annual rent increases at 5% for tenants of large landlords. Now you would say, oh, okay, well, he's only going after the big ones. We're only talking about the large landowners, landlords, not landowners, but I guess they're landowners too. He's only talking about the big ones. Well, the problem there is in the United States, 50% of rental properties, housing units, are owned by individuals or corporations that manage or own more than 50 units. That's his target. Anyone that has 50 or more rental units would be subject to this 5% cap. But that's 50% of the overall rental market in the United States. That's half of all the rental properties. That means that half wouldn't be included, but the idea is that he would be able to rent control 50% of the rental units in the U.S. His exact words, and I quote, "If I'm reelected, we're going to make sure that rents are kept at a 5% increase." Building more affordable rental housing nationwide, not rent control proposals being used as political ammo, would be a much better option. How about, instead of putting some arbitrary rent control on the amount that rents can go up, how about we increase the supply of rental units, thereby pushing down the cost of those units? It's a much better way to go about doing it. And historically, we've seen that that's the better solution than rent controls. There is enough historical reference to know that rent control, if not very carefully implemented, can distort The rental markets can discourage new construction. We're going to talk about that in a second. And can have, even worse, a negative impact on the quality of the rental housing. Let's say that you are a landlord, that you're going to fit into this and you're going to be capped at 5%. And you have 50 properties. And you want to improve those properties. Fresh coat of paint, new carpet, maybe some new appliances. You just want to keep your properties looking good, improving the community. You're not living in slums. You want to keep your place looking nice. But you're going to be limited to a 5% increase in rent, regardless of whether you just spent $15,000 improving your rental property so that it looks better in the community, so it's more desirable and all those things. You're going to be capped at a 5% rental increase, which means there is no way that you can recoup your costs. What is the point in adding those features if you can never recoup the cost of the features that you're adding? It just doesn't make sense. There's a better idea. Build more rental housing units. But if you go back to my video from February of this year, we've got another problem going on. And that video, we talked about commercial real estate. But other than single family homes, commercial real estate does pretty much include multifamily, in other words, apartment buildings and things like that. So we could see way back then that there was trouble in the commercial real estate sector, and that includes multifamily. The cost of funds to build new multifamily housing has nearly doubled in the last 4 years. There's two big reasons for that. I mean, obviously, just appreciation in time, but cost of funds, in other words, the amount of interest that you pay when you have to borrow $2 million to build an apartment complex, the cost of funds have more than doubled for that loan. In addition to that, and this is not something that anyone could have controlled, but in addition to that, the cost of supplies, lumber, materials, things like that, have also gone way up. In some cases, they've doubled as well. So that's part of it, but the bigger piece is that the cost of borrowing for those properties, because they've been inflating these interest rates, have gotten to a point where it's too expensive to build. Now, you go tell those builders that once they build these homes, these apartments, that they cannot increase their rent by more than 5% a year. You get the point. You see what's going to happen. It's not going to work. The solution is more housing, not artificially controlling the rents on the few houses that you've got. How about we build more houses? How about we build more apartments? How about we increase the supply of rental housing instead of limiting the cost? Long term, as in beyond the soundbite era of this election cycle, the only way to start getting rents back down and to a more affordable number, historically speaking, is to increase the supply. How do we do that? We lower the cost of building. One of the ways that we do that, we take that artificial grip off of the federal funds rate, the prime lending rate, mortgage rates, all of those interest rates that are being kept artificially high. It's time for those things to go away. I have said, go back and look at some of my videos. I'm not going to link them all here, but go back and look at some of the videos, and we have talked about the unintended consequences of actions that they are doing now. And it's not just about interest rates for single family housing or for manufacturing costs. This thing affects the entire economy. So inflation is already down below 3%. The last video I put it out one day before the June numbers came out, and we were looking at a 3.27 inflation number, and that was for May. The very next day, July the 11th, they presented us the June inflation numbers, 2.97. We are now below 3%. Are we at the 2% number yet? No, we're not. But that's a target, and that's a perfect world target. If they don't start lowering interest rates now, by the time we get to 2% inflation, it will be too late. And we will be in that ugly R-word recession because of that. Unemployment has already started to tick up. Productivity has ticked down. Wage gains have started going back down. All of these things are signs that it is time to loosen the reins. And now, instead of asking the Federal Open Market Committee to take action on interest rates, we have a situation where the proposal isn't to fix it from a macro, it's to fix it in a micro, and that is say that you're only allowed to raise rents by 5%. I do not believe that this will actually come to fruition. Whether it doesn't matter which president we have, I don't believe it will actually happen. I think it was a soundbite, but it still presents an opportunity here for us to say there's another better solution. Just ease lending rates. It's time to do that. The American public there's so much pent up demand. I said in that last video that homes for sale were at their lowest level in, I can't remember the date that I put in, a long time. It was in the 400,000s of number of units totally available for sale across the U.S. New home starts were way down. They were at their lowest numbers. Again, cost of funds. It costs too much money, and builders are now realizing that, especially first-time buyers, they have decided to pull out and sit on the sidelines until rates become more affordable. It's a rolling stone downhill, it begins to pick up speed, and at some point it's going to be too late to stop that stone from barreling over the cliff down at the bottom of the hill. Anyway, enough about that. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking the time to come and listen to me. I hope you will like this video. Please like the video. Please share the video. Please hit that subscribe button. We grow this channel in subscriptions by you clicking that subscribe button. Even if you don't watch every video, go ahead and subscribe. It'll let you know when something comes out, and you can choose for yourself whether you want to watch it or not. I appreciate your time. I want to say once again, thank you for coming back to me right here on the channel at The Mortgage Farmer.